time now for our AL.com questions of the week. Coach, with the loss of Jay Prosch to the pros, have you considered a player like Braden Smith as a possible replacement? Is that an option right now?
Well, we need him on the offensive line for depth, and like I said, he will have a bigger factor. The second half of the season. Now he could probably do it. I mean, he's a athletic, mean guy, but he'll definitely be better in the future up front.
All right, that's from Jonathan Rombiel, and then from War Eagle 1846. Coach, what is the situation with Jalen Denson? Of course, we saw him a year ago going down in the LSU ball game as a wide receiver. Just curious in his situation. Thank you, in War Eagle.
Yeah, Jalen, of course, he was one of our go-to guys before he got hurt last year, and he tore his knee up pretty good. It's kind of been one of those things that he's gotten better and better. You'll see him be more of a factor. He got to play some against Mississippi State. He's starting to get back in a rhythm. He's not 100%, but he'll get better each week.
Have a question for Coach Malzahn? Go to AL.com Tiger Talk. That's /Tiger Talk, and submit your question each week. Could be asked live on the show. Visit AL.com /Tiger Talk today. Back to the audience. Your question for Coach Malzahn. Go ahead.
Good evening, Coach.
Good evening.
Based on our offense, and I understand about the game time experience and all that, will we see some of Jeremy Johnson?
It is possible. We feel very good about him, like I said before. When he's gotten in there, he's done an excellent job. So you definitely could see, more of him in the second half of the season.
Evaluate Nick Marshall's play as you've now had a chance to look back at the film at Mississippi State.
Well, he did some good things. He made a couple plays that probably no other quarterback in the country is going to make. There's a couple things he'd like to have back, but he's a great competitor. He ran the ball well, and he's improving. He had a good week of practice last week too.
You mentioned Coach Johnson, Ellis Johnson, Auburn's defensive coordinator in his second season with Auburn. He said he's been coaching long enough now that it's like a homecoming just about every time that he goes on the field now. But this one really, he was at South Carolina for 4 years. He was there 3 years ago. Just what is it like for a coach? And you had it. You were with your first game last year with Arkansas State. What is it like to go up against a school and players that a lot of times you've coached and recruited as well?
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit different, especially when you think about it and everything. But, once the game gets going on, you do your job, and then, of course, after the game, it's always great to see those guys.
All right. Back to the audience. Go ahead, your question for Coach Malzahn.
Coach, this Fred Hunt, Laurie Hunt, we're from Auburn. First of all, we're blessed to have you as a coach.
Thank you.
When do you think, if at all, Carl Lawson will be back to help us on the defense?
Yeah, rehab's going good. We've not got to the point yet. It's good enough to talk about coming back and all that. And like I've said before, he's got a bright future. I want to make sure that he's 110% for sure ready to go when that time comes.
With a guy that's as talented and as young as he is there a cutoff point this season in your mind with regard to Carl at this point?
We really hadn't had that conversation yet. We have great doctors, and once they say he's 100% ready to go, then we could have that conversation. Till then, I'm not really going there.
Sure. Is that a weekly conversation with the medical staff as far as who can go, who can't go, that type of thing?
Yeah, it's a weekly, but a lot of times it's a daily too.
Yeah.
We get daily updates with everything before practice and everything in our staff meetings, and it's almost daily.
Let's turn our attention to the opponent this week, South Carolina, a team that many thought would be perhaps the best in the SEC East. They lose on opening night to Texas A&M. But, boy, it seems to me to be a very dangerous team coming in here on Saturday night, Coach.
There's no doubt about that. They were ranked in the top 10 preseason for a reason. I think they've won, 11 games, three of the last 3 years. They got good players, and, we're expecting them to have their best, and, it'll be a challenge, there's no doubt. Excuse me.
Your thoughts about Coach Spurrier and not only what he's done at South Carolina, but, I've got to think, for someone that has studied coaches and styles and that type of thing, that's a guy that, he's been doing this for a while now.
He's been doing it for a while, and he's been doing it really good for a while. When I was a high school coach, way back when, watching him at Florida, I tried to model myself after some of the things that he did offensively and, of course, the visor and all that. And then what he's done at South Carolina is unbelievable. And for them to have 3 seasons like they had, and we know we're going to get their best. we've got to be ready.
All right. Back to the audience. Your question for Coach Malzahn. Thanks for joining us.
Good evening, Coach.
Good evening.
As the game against Mississippi State progressed, the offense seemed to take a back-to-basics approach. Is that a viable option going into next week and beyond, or is it more important that the offense continue to evolve as to where it had been the weeks before?
Yeah, I guess from a fan standpoint, back to basics. If you don't execute and you don't score points, it kind of seems that way. But, we have the same plan. I mean, we understand that, you've got to evolve each week and you got to disguise things. You got to keep doing what you're good at. But bottom line is we didn't get the ball in the end zone. And we had a couple negative plays, and so it looked like it was back to basics. It really wasn't. It's really pretty much a similar strategic plan that we have each week, But when they work, it looks like there's a couple new wrinkles and all that. But we just didn't execute like we'd like. I'm sure they had a lot to do with that, but our expectations are high. And our offensive guys understand that.
And that was really the first time this season. I think going into that game, Auburn was 21 of 21 in the red zone, and that was 17 touchdowns out of 21 chances.
Yeah, we pride ourselves in being good in the red zone. And, years back we've been good for a while. And that was probably the most discouraging thing for me that we hadn't had happen very often. And we got to make sure it didn't happen again.
Victory Grill is our great location here for Tiger Talk. We'll be here every Monday night at 7. We hope you'll join us as well. While you're here, enjoy a great variety of made-from-scratch menu items to go along with the Auburn-themed atmosphere and the over 70 flat screens to enjoy any sporting event. The home of great food, great fun that will be a hit with your entire family. That's Victory Grill. And we'll be right back from Victory Grill. You're listening to Tiger Talk.